pretty much the entire time I've been lifting, every time I see a big guy in the gym, I've always asked him, man, how do I get big like you? Right? Because that's probably the whole reason why we're working out. I know it is for me. So they always say the same thing. You got to eat big, right? You got to eat big to get big. Not to mention that, but almost basically every professional bodybuilder I've heard talk about nutrition, they all say that nutrition is possibly the most important part of the trifecta of sleep, food, and working out, right? Nutrition may be the most important one. So that means that if you're trying to get big, right? If you want to be healthy, you want better workouts, you want to get your muscles bigger, right? You want to feed the muscle children. You need to understand nutrition. Okay? I've been doing this. I've been messing around and experimenting with nutrition and experimenting on myself for almost 15 years now. I've got it pretty well dialed in, I think. I feel like we're pretty locked in at the moment. And I'm making this video because I get a lot of questions from younger guys at the gym. Very, very basic questions, which is fine. It's fine. But I get a lot of basic questions like things like, man, like, you know, what foods are good for carbs? Like what's some good protein sources, right? Like, how much fat do I need? So those are all great questions. And so I'm going to answer all of those questions in the video, right? Come here. You ready to go to school? Yeah, of course you are. Get out of here. Okay? We're here. Frank's School of Muscles. Boom. PowerPoint presentation. Okay? Welcome to my PowerPoint presentation. So we're going to go through macros for beginner lifters. Okay? This video is not for the expert professional bodybuilder, right? This video is for newer gym bros, or maybe somebody who just wants a little bit more information about dieting and understanding the 3 macronutrients of protein, fats, and carbohydrates. Okay? So this is going to give you a very good but basic understanding. Okay? So again, this is not for the high tier stuff. But we are going to get into the following. We're going to talk about protein, carbs, and we're going to talk about fats. We're going to talk about how they work in your body. We're going to talk about how to fit them into your diet. And we're going to go through some good examples of each of those different things. So by the end of this video, hopefully you'll bookmark it, save it for later, come back to it, and hopefully it'll help you out with your diet and help you achieve your goals, because that's all I want. I want to help you achieve your goals. That's it. So, without further ado, we're going to get into it. Boom. Proteins. Okay, proteins. There is a reason that I'm bringing up proteins first, and that is because in the dieting sense, and we'll get to this here in a little bit, when you're going and figuring out what your macros are going to be for your diet, proteins are probably going to be the first thing that you figure out. Okay? So let's say if you're trying to hit a calorie goal of 2,000 total calories, the first base number that you need to start with your calculations is going to be your protein number. Okay? So we'll talk about that in a little bit, but that's why it's first on the list. Okay? So what happens after you eat proteins? Okay? Proteins are broken down by our body into amino acids. And they are primarily used for repairing and rebuilding muscle tissue that has been damaged from curling and lifting the massive weights that you've been lifting. Protein can be used as energy, but it's not your body's primary choice of energy. It's kind of inefficient. And excess protein can be converted into fat, but also that process of converting excess protein into fat is also very inefficient. So it's not easy for your body to do. So it's not easy to get a bunch of extra body fat by going over on your proteins. So, how much protein do you need? Now, pretty much basically every professional out there, the kind of the main rule of thumb is 1 gram of protein per 1 pound of lean body weight. And I will say, through my own personal experimentation on myself, I have found that is true. When I was dieting down, especially, I noticed it a lot more dieting down. So when I was in a dieting phase, when I was cutting, and I kind of go into this more in depth in my video about cutting, but I was sitting right above 200 pounds and my protein daily intake was approximately 140 to 150 grams per day. And I just, out of curiosity, I said, let's pump up that jam a little bit, and I want to try, and because I thought it was a myth. I thought it was one of those bodybuilding myths that you don't really need, and I didn't need it because I didn't die, right? But what happens if you get more? What happens if you get, 1 gram per pound per body weight? And within a couple weeks, I started to feel much better. I felt better. I felt like my workouts were better, and I thought I saw my physique rapidly improving as well. I felt like I was able to recover a little bit better, and I think I was losing fat faster as well by pumping up the protein number. So I know that's kind of like obvious, but I'm just saying that to say, through my own personal experience, that's how it's been. So when you're going to set out, if you're going to start your diet, again, let's just say like 2,000 calories is what you're going for. The first number you want to go for is protein, and you're going to set that number to whatever your body weight is. So let's just say you're 200 pounds. Well, you're probably not 200 pounds. You're probably 170 pounds. You need to eat more. Okay, so whatever your body weight is, 1 gram. Okay, and there's 4 calories per gram of protein. So if you're 200 pounds, 200 grams, that's 800 calories. So 800 of your 2,000 daily intake would be from protein. Good protein sources. The main ones that I eat daily are chicken, steak, and ground beef. I eat a lot of chicken and ground beef. Chicken breast is super easy. My little hack that I do for eating a lot of protein and having it readily available is getting a bunch of chicken breasts, putting it in a crock pot, and I just throw in some tomato paste and some seasonings and some enchilada sauce, stuff like that, some peppers, maybe some chicken broth, and I just cook that for a few hours until it gets really like falling apart, like kind of like shredded chicken basically. And then I have a crock pot full of shredded chicken, put that in a Tupperware, and then that gives me like maybe 2 days worth of chicken, and I can just pull it out and weigh it. I can easily just pull it out of the Tupperware. Most of my meals are like 200 grams of chicken or 250 grams of chicken, depending on where my numbers are at, but it just makes it super simple. And then I also eat a lot of ground beef. Pull it out, put some taco seasoning on, make like a pound of it, eat half now, and then I'll eat the other half a couple hours later. And then, do you need protein powder? No, you don't need protein powder. I did protein powder for years. Truth of the matter is, you just don't need it. It's best if you could get all your protein from food, which is what I'm doing right now. If you just didn't hit your protein number for the day and protein powder is all you got, then that's what it is. For me, protein powder kind of seems to upset my stomach a little bit. I think it maybe because it doesn't have the fats and stuff to go along with it. It doesn't digest easily for me. So I don't use protein powder. It's not necessary. If you can get it from food, that'd be great. Oh, a couple other protein ones. Good things to have in the fridge are I keep tubs of Greek yogurt and cottage cheese. Cottage cheese, not like the best protein number, but it's easy to just, if you just need like 10, 12, 15 more grams of protein, it's easy to get a little extra from cottage cheese. Okay. So that's pretty much all I got about protein. Fats. Okay. So what happens when you eat a fat? Say fats are broken down in the body into fatty acids. And they are transferred to the body, transferred around to your body, and they're used as a long-term energy source. Fats are, because they're already fats, are the easiest way, if you eat in excess, for your body to convert them into excess body fat, because it doesn't have to do any sort of metabolic process to change them into fat because they're already fat, right? Makes sense. So it can easily lead to excess body fat if you eat too much of it. How much fat do you need? Typically, right now, I think I'm doing between 70 and 50 grams of fat a day. Obviously, your body needs some fat, right? And you want to get some fat from different sources. But right now, pretty much all you need to know is you're just try to keep your fats as low as possible, especially if you're dieting, if you're cutting down. You want to keep your fats as low as possible, and your fats are basically just going to be coming from whatever your protein source is. So if you're doing ground beef or steak, then your fat is going to be a lot higher because there's a lot more fat in ground beef than chicken breast. So this is another reason why chicken breast is a great choice of protein, is because it kind of also has a much lower fat content than beef or steak or something similar. So that being said, you kind of want to minimize, right? And you just kind of do your best to keep it low. I would avoid things like peanut butter if you can. I stay away. I did milk pretty hard for a while, but I don't do milk anymore. It messes with my stomach too bad, so I don't even touch it. So again, you want to keep your fats low because there's your body burns 9 calories per gram of body fat. So every gram of fat you use, that's a little bit more than 1 gram of protein and a gram of carbohydrates. So it's just kind of inefficient. If you want a lot of body energy and you want to increase your carb stores, so it's very easily converted into fat. So it's kind of like a negative on it there. And then it's also taking away from other proteins and carbohydrates that you could be getting. So that's reasons why you want to keep it low. Something I've been messing with lately is, if I'm going to have some fats, have them a little bit before the workout, almost basically pre-workout. And I've been trying this, and it's been doing pretty well. It's something for you to try out. I just kind of have it on there as an experiment. I don't really like doing a bunch of carbs directly before working out because I tend to feel a little bit slow and just kind of lethargic a little bit. And I don't like feeling that, getting that tired feeling when I get to the gym. So sometimes I'll do a little bit high fat right before the gym and see what happens. Fat sources kind of hit on them earlier, but it's basically going to be the residuals from whatever protein source you're getting. So steak, chicken, beef. If you're trying to get some fats directly, there's fat in cottage cheese and Greek yogurt as well, peanut butter, avocados, olive oil, butter, all very good fat sources. Okay. Now we're getting into the carbohydrates. Okay, my stupid PowerPoint here keeps getting messed up. So, your body breaks down carbohydrates into glucose, and when this happens, the glucose is going to go into your bloodstream, and your blood sugar levels are going to spike. Carbohydrates are your body's preferred energy source, and any carbohydrates that are not directly used by your body are going to be shuttled to your muscles and be stored as glycogen, and also stored to your liver as glycogen, and they're going to be used as an energy source later on. So if your glycogen stores are already full and you eat carbohydrates in excess, your body can break that down and convert it into body fat. Now, it's not as easily converted into fat as consuming fats directly, but it is possible, and it's easier than having proteins converted into fat. So how much do you need? Well, that's a tough question. You're going to have to kind of mess with that number and figure it out on your own. Basically, what you want to do is have your carbohydrates be your filler in your diet. So let's say your protein source is, you want to get like 200 grams of protein, and let's just say your body weight is 200 pounds. So you want to get 200 grams of protein. You're going to have like probably 50 to 70 grams of fat per day, maybe 40 if you can keep it on the lower side. And just everything else is carbohydrates. So just go to town with whatever carbs you have. And that kind of makes it easier when you go to switch from bulking and, from going from a bulk to a cut or opposite. You don't have to change anything else except you just change that carbohydrate lever. So you either up your carbs or increase your carbs, and you're switching your diet up. That simple. So it makes it kind of easy in that sense. So let's see, carb sources. I use a lot. I eat a lot of honey. I like honey on blueberries, and let's see, I eat a ton of rice cakes. You have your rice. You have your pastas, breads. Those are all high carbohydrate sources. Let's see, the rice cakes, I've been crushing those. Tortillas, I pound a lot of tortillas. So lately, like I'm on my bulk right now, a lot of my meals are the 200 grams of chicken breast, and then I'll do like 70 to 100 grams of cottage cheese and a little buffalo sauce on that with 4 tortillas. And so I'll eat that like 3 times a day, and that's almost, that's a good portion of my calories. And then I have a breakfast that's separate from those meals. Okay, so that's how the carbs work. That's how they fit in. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's all I got for you guys. So let me change my size there. So, yep, this is me lately, where this was a picture on the left a couple weeks ago. The picture on the right, this was a couple days ago. I'm 2.5 weeks into the bulk right now. I will be posting a bulk update video when I get to 1 month in. But I hope this was helpful, and I hope you learned something. And I hope it helps you meet your goals, and I'll see you in the next video.